And I wonder if you could empower our listeners with a couple of things to step out of the overwhelm. It could be overwhelming decision. It could be overwhelming dynamic you don't know what to do with.
Yeah, man, that's a great question. So you were just on my podcast, and you said something interesting. I was asking about how do you foster an awareness of other people, lean out, and you said something along the lines of you got to be able to be aware of yourself first. You got to be able to lean in first, know yourself first.
Yeah.
The way to step out of overwhelm is to first step in to it and allow it to wash over you.
Yeah.
Because what happens with overwhelm is it creates a chaos, and instead of calming ourselves first, we try to solve it, but there's often no direction to solving overwhelm. We're just trying to get out of it. And so we make decisions in the moment in different areas of our lives, wherever the overwhelm is, to escape the overwhelm. But in fact, we make it worse because it's not a missional strategic decision. So when you feel overwhelmed, the first thing to actually do is to sit and acknowledge there are parts of me that feel overwhelmed. I grew up milking cows, right? Mm-hmm. It ain't sexy.
Get out there 4:35.
No, but the thing about, like, I don't milk Bessie once and be like,
right,
see you next year. That ain't how that works. I'm going to see her that afternoon. I'm going to see her the next morning. What I'm talking about is it's like milking cows. It's like gardening. You have to put your hands in the soil of your soul and feel the reality of the overwhelm and learn to sit with it, to regulate yourself in it, doing breath work, calming down. And as you calm your body down, you can start assessing, where in my life am I overwhelmed? Am I overwhelmed spiritually? Am I overwhelmed psychologically, physically, relationally, environmentally? Is my environment chaos? Financially, in the areas of my vocation and leadership or education? And where does the overwhelm hit in these different areas? And as you calm yourself down, you acknowledge the overwhelm, but as you calm, it gives you the chance to start to foster agency. Where am I now, and how did I get here?
Yep.
As you calm yourself in the midst of it, because there's a power to being able to calm yourself in the midst of chaos and overwhelm.
Right.
It's called authority.
Yep.
I'm going to be aware of it, and I'm going to regulate it. Those two things together are the seat of authority.
Mm-hmm.
So as I do that, I'm able to go, okay, where am I right now? Right now, where am I? And how did I get here? There's a power to fostering an awareness and storying that journey.
That's good.
But the next question isn't how do I get out of it? The next question is where do I want to be? Because there's a guy that you were both familiar with. His name's Bob Hemp, and he has this quote that stuck with me for years and years and years. It's what you seek first organizes the rest of your life. That quote stuck with me because it has such an implication on the soul, because if I'm seeking first a solution to overwhelm, or overwhelm is still organizing my life.
Yes, that's so good.
If I can stop, where am I now? How did I get here? Where do I want to be? Gary Collins uses some of these questions in his coaching methodologies. Where do I want to be? That mission and vision are what set the goals, my next step goals. I may not have the resources right now to get to where I want to be, but I sure as heck can look around and go, well, I can use gratitude to identify, I'm grateful for this and for this. Okay, these are resources. I'm going to steward what I have as a next step to move me where I want to be. Then, if you hit obstacles, pay attention to the obstacles. Deal with the obstacles. We don't ignore them.
Right.
But that kind of line of questioning fosters one of the most important things that we have to overcome overwhelm, and it's not the absence of the chaos. It's our authority over it, and it's agency.
Yeah. Ooh.
I can choose to engage this in a way that moves me one step closer to where I want to be regardless of the overwhelm. And I think that's sort of the game changer. I hope that made sense. We can get into any of that we need to, but
no, it does. It's like allowing yourself to move through it, feeling all of the things and knowing where you're going while you're moving through it. When you're just trying to solve the overwhelm or you're just feeling overwhelmed, you're right. It orients your decision making and it leads to just reactive Okay, let me do this. It's like the scattered, and then that feeds into the anxiety. It feeds into that overwhelm. That's really useful. I hope someone who has just been feeling overwhelmed finds that incredibly helpful, as I have every time we talk about it, because the truth is, I think that overwhelm is a real invitation that shows up on each of our doorstep. And it's like the more that you open that invitation, the more you get it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The more that you can go, oh yeah, I see the invitation and it feels this way, but it's not.
Yeah.
That's not the reality. It feels this way. This is something I'm going to move through, and it's not going to feel this way tomorrow, tonight, in a year. But I don't even want to say, why do you feel like we're overwhelmed right now? But it does seem that we're just in a real changing time where it's like people are changing relational dynamics. I feel like people are advocating for, the lives that they want, maybe where they haven't, and maybe I'm just projecting. But I'm like, there's a level of, I feel, real dissatisfaction, and not even dissatisfaction with the overwhelm, but dissatisfaction with, okay, I'm not staying here anymore. I can't stay in this situation. I can't stay in this dynamic. I can't stay in this unhealth. And I feel like that feeling either leads to inaction, almost like stopping someone. But if you can learn how to actually have the feelings and move through it, you can find another route. What are we seeing right now culturally, or what are you saying? You talk to people all the time. Is this a normal thing that, or not normal, but is it a thing that we're all contending with at some point right now?
Yes. Yeah. For a few reasons. And these aren't exhaustive, right? But they're just observations. The first reason I think we stay in the overwhelm is we're not willing to go through it. We try to get away from it, and that compounds it. Because one of the greatest ways to not waste your pain is to go through it and grow through it with intentionality. Because Peter Levine, who developed somatic experiencing, talks about pendulation, where we go into the pain and out of the pain, into the pain and out of the pain, and it increases our capacity to hold pain and keep growing, keep moving. So when we're willing to go through overwhelm, chaos, the very fact that we're willing to engage it means that we're building a capacity in our soul to withstand it, fostering resilience and grit. And the thing about resilience and grit, they don't help us thrive, but they do help us survive. They help us get through things. Resilience and grit are the foundation of thriving, if that makes any sense, the soil of it, right? So I think that's one reason. The other reason is one of the areas where I see the most chaos and overwhelm is in relationships. And, back in the day, people wanted commitment, right?
Right, yeah.
But they struggled with connection. So like our grandparents may have been committed to each other, but I don't know if they were the most connected emotionally. And they're okay with that, right?
Yep.
Our current culture longs for connection, and we'll work to get it in friendships, romantic relationships, marriages, all sorts of things. But the struggle is that our current culture doesn't know how to commit. And so we're longing for connection, but we've got people scared to commit. And so it creates a destabilized, anxious attachment culturally. Every healthy relationship has to have two factors, commitment and connection. Commitment establishes the safety, security piece, but commitment is not fuel for relationships to thrive. Connection is.
Right.
And so you've got to have both. And so I think we have a culture that wants the connection but doesn't understand the commitment. And you talk about this in the book and you read The Room, but nuancing people, seeing people as whole people, healthy parts. I don't know if you use this, I don't think you use this language, but basically the idea is people are nuanced and they're complex. Yes, people have healthy parts and unhealthy parts. And just because you get to know me and you realize, oh, Andy's got some unhealthy parts, that doesn't mean you're writing me off as a whole person.
Right.
But culturally, we just split each other.
Yeah, it's true. Like, oh, I've seen that ugly thing. Now I got to go to this side of the room.
Yeah, I'm done. I think that's another reason why we stay in the overwhelm. Another reason we stay in the overwhelm is that we don't really know who we are or what our values are.
Yeah, we haven't taken time to actually even ask those questions,
No.
do that, like that inner work. Is that the right language for that? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know how to self-lead. Therefore, we don't know how to steward our yeses and our nos. So we're saying yeses to things based on aspirational or accidental values. And we're saying no to the things that really help us thrive.
Yeah.
And so we don't know how to practice holistic self-care, which is really self-leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Steward our own spiritual formation, our own soul care, which those are different. They get conflated a lot, but our own physical health, our own. And so we just stay in the chaos trying to put out the fires instead of proactively fostering health in our lives and then approaching the overwhelm from a place of health or movement towards health. So I think those are three reasons that keep us in the overwhelm.